Jonathan.
Hello again.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey, everybody. We're talking about the man.
John Frusciante.
We've had lots of people chime in and say, "Hey, talk about John." Hey, why not talk about John? Or talk about John.
Do it. Talk about him
and
now.
Say, which John? And they always say Frusciante.
Yeah.
It's lots of, so we're gonna talk about John Frusciante. And why is this guy so cool?
He's pretty awesome.
He is pretty awesome. He's I think he's overlooked by a lot of like the guitar, I guess, snobs.
Probably so.
Of
That's
the
probably
world.
true.
And so we wanted to sort of break into we'll sort of talk briefly about his little beginning parts, his part with the Peppers, his part out, but mainly what makes his playing so unique and whatnot. And if you've never listened to him, he's obviously the main instead of the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yep.
You've heard him and you don't know it, or you might not have analyzed it and what his playing has meant for guitar in general. But we're gonna kind of get into it. So here you go, John. Thanks for making great music. Let's talk about you. Ting. That's when the cool thing drops down, like the effect that we ordered.
Bam.
Like it's like, Red Hot Chili Peppers, John Frusciante. I'm cool. So when was this guy born?
1970.
From Queens, I believe, too.
I believe that is true.
I think this guy. So he moved across the country to the West in Arizona with his mom and dad. I think they got split. Typical American family history. Mom and him moved out to L.A. And then he fell in love with the punk rock scene.
It happens.
Which is is a natural thing. He fell in love with this group called the Germs in particular. So if you haven't heard the Germs and you want to hear some really cool, just like early punk of that, that sort of scene, check out the Germs. Really, so Frusciante fell in love with them. I think he was playing at 9, which is a pretty young age to start guitar. Yeah. And having that punk sort of scene, and then he's just living in LA. This is back when living in a musical scene and a culture actually was really important.
And then something, yeah.
You've had LA, you've had New York as our sort of primaries, and you've had a few other cities like Nashville, obviously, is country, but LA is like sort of the hotbed of punk at this point, and it's making some great stuff. So he's there learning, and then let's just fast forward a little bit in life. You talk about the guitar teacher.
He somehow or other he gets sort of turned on to the Chili Peppers in the 80s. Right. His guitar teacher actually auditions for them.
So you just told me that earlier. I was like, that's really cool.
It is really cool. And then he sort of somehow gets in touch with the original guitar player. They become friends. And he actually spoke to that guy like a month before they died. It said they were kind of hanging out, talking. At least Wikipedia says that. Well, I'm assuming that's true. So when he meets those guys, one of the things, like you even said, they're impressed by, he knew sort of all the bass lines and the guitar parts already.
Yes, because he's like, a lot of people don't realize he's not the original guitar player for
Right.
the Chili Peppers. It's kind of like, hey, that guy that sings AC/DC songs is not the original singer.
Not the dude.
Which one is that? Bon Scott? Don't worry about it. It's confusing. Anyway, let's get back to the Chili Peppers. So he ends up joining the Chili Peppers as a teenager, and he's been playing
18.
guitar. Yeah, for almost 9 years at this point. Not like serious studied guitars, but as soon as he joins them, that's when they've already had a few records come out. This is when the magic starts to happen, and we see their first record with him come out. And then we're just going to talk about Blood, Sex, and Sugar and all that magic that comes out. And this is recorded by the unbelievable Rick Rubin. Gets his hands on them too.
Okay, producer. Yeah.
I mean, Rick Rubin, Beastie Boys, everything. But he gets his hands. He sees this collection of these 4 strange dudes that have already been making music. But he puts it together in this combo that is just unleashes them. And Frusciante's, I'd say almost aggressive. It's a mixture of punk and funk. And then we're going to throw back to the Hendrixian.
It's, in a lot of ways, Frusciante was my gateway to Hendrix.
God, isn't that weird?
Because I remember as a kid reading, it was like a Guitar World magazine article about how, Under the Bridge was so like a nod to Hendrix and Hendrix inspired, and I was like, oh.
Who is this Hendrix man?
Right. So I was like, well, I want to do that. Whatever this is, I'd like to do this.
See, I was already tuned into Hendrix, I think, and when I first heard Chili Peppers, it was Give It Away, Give It Away. I saw it video on MTV. They used to play videos on this TV channel called MTV.
Crazy.
And I saw John playing, and I saw a Flea, and they're all wearing these weird furry pants, and they're in the desert. They have to be high on who knows what. But that video blew me away. The aggressive nature of the playing, and this is in the '90s.
Yeah.
And it's sort of there's some great bands in the '90s right now. You've got GNR, Smashing Pumpkins, and then you've got the whole sort of pop stuff happening, obviously on which is we weren't listening to that obviously.
Not as much.
But the Chili Peppers come along and go, what is this? It's clearly California. You know, as Anthony Kiedis, he should be governor of California. I would start that. I want Dwayne Johnson to be president. I want Anthony Kiedis to be governor of California. Anyway,
I mean, all those things could happen. It's not. I don't feel like it's outside the realm anymore.
We're
not going to talk about
politics.
that. Yeah.
It is funny when these things divulge into that, though. I see it on the music forums. I'm like talking about guitar.
Stop.
And all of a sudden it's politics. I'm like, what is happening? But no. Anyway, Anthony Kiedis, we're voting for you. Run. And God, what were we talking about now? It was so California.
Seeing them,
and then but his playing, I had not seen that raw, and by raw I mean unproduced and unfiltered. And then you go back and listen to it, and it's not dated.
No.
A lot of 90s music, unfortunately, has a dated character to it. Not the bands we've mentioned, but a lot does.
Yeah. I listened to some of the stuff that I thought was the best thing ever then, and I think,
And so with that release of that record, you know, this was sort of an underground punk band. They all of a sudden, the Chili Peppers were thrust into stratosphere, mega stardom. Right. Frusciante cannot handle this, apparently. We don't want to go into the deep dive. We're going to get back to just the musical technique in a minute. But the deep dive of his heroin addictions, which is well documented across all the inner spheres of the internet. But you know, with the release of that, he toured it, and the band eventually he had to leave the band after a bit.
Right.
He was replaced by Dave Navarro of Jane's Addiction, and then the story continues there. He did his own solo projects, which are also really cool and off the wall. Some of them.
He had a lot of pretty cool stuff. I mean, weird, trippy stuff. It was like Trickfinger was one of the aliases, right? Yeah.
Which I like. He's using aliases.
Right.
It's like because
an acid house music or whatever it's called.
I mean, I think from some of the famous people I've met, I think John had an understanding of what fame actually meant more so than a lot of people, and he was fully aware that he needed to disengage for his own health, even though he took the wrong choices. But fame is a tricky demon for a lot of people, and so by having these aliases, he was able to create art and music without the attachments of the fame that was now associated with his name after that. Really, the two records that won is what. So you know, he was gone for a bit, making this great music. We're just doing the history real quick as we get back to his style. He joins back for their other mega hit,
Californication,
which I mean we listen to that probably in the shop at least once a week, or if Sean's in the shop, we listen to it 5 times a day.
But all those, so basically what we're saying, every big Chili Peppers record, the common thread is John.
Yes.
I think that's fair to say.
And he has been threading, for it's decades now with this band. Whenever the lightning hits, he's a part of it. Not saying I don't like some of the other Chili Peppers works. No. I like the last records with Klinghoffer and everything. I thought were awesome.
They were cool.
I thought Dark Necessities was a really great single. And I was like, wow, this return to form.
Right.
And it had some of those Frusciante aspects to it.
It's true.
But anyway, so let's get back to why do people talk about Frusciante with such reverence? And we hear it from young guitar players in general a lot. Like Sean, one of the guys that works with us, is obsessed with them.
He's mythical in their
oh my God, Frusciante. And he is. And he's become that way for these young dudes. Not the guys that are the 40-year-olds like me or the 30-year-olds like you. But I had to go back and revisit it and be like, wow, I do like this work a lot. And
it is. Well, I remember, and I mean, you know, when they were coming out with Californication, when he's back, and the By the Way record, that was 99, 2000. I was graduating high school. And I can still remember him standing in the back of that car playing that little simple slot part, you know, on some of those tunes, on, what's the name of that song?
You probably should know your song.
Should know the name of the song. Doesn't matter. There's I can hum the little slide part. But he's standing in the back of the car and he's playing the broken neck Strat. Yes. And I'm like, this guy's a rock star.
We're going to have plenty of people tell you what song that was.
I'm sure they will, yeah.
That's right. Please tell him what song it is with exclamation points, all caps. No, I agree. Well, that's it. He is not known for his virtuosity.
No.
He is known for his tone.
Scar Tissue. That's the name of the song.
Thank you. You got it. It only took you 3 minutes.
Hey.
No, but he's known for his tone, his writing, his technique is something very in his construction of structure. I think is he has this unique way of writing melodies. His guitar solos have melodic.
They're melodic.
I mean, Slash is a great melodic writer too.
Right.
He's more in a different style of play, but I think he's a phenomenal.
His rhythms are so cool though. Think about the arpeggio stuff, in Snow. how cool that little part is and how tricky it is, especially for young guitar players that want to play
and
that.
These young guys
know.
come in and show it, like,
Right.
and it's like, oh well, I see what he's doing really quickly. I've been playing for quite a while. I'm old and close to death, but no. Then I see but it's neat to watch these guys. This is the first time they've thought of arpeggiating a chord.
Yeah.
Instead of just like strumming it out, or just the the rhythms that like John came up with. But it is very Hendrixian.
Yes.
And it's like, I mean, I'll put like Under the Bridge, like you put that with like Wind Cries Mary and Hey Joe, sort of stylistics playing. I could very much, if Hendrix was alive in the 90s, I could see him composing and writing on some of these pieces.
Right.
And the solos that John does and has done, I mean, I think they're some of the best solos we've had. And they're not solos that are shredding.
No, it's like you said, they're very compositional. They're very
it's
thought
very,
out.
And this is a weird throw, but I'd almost say David Gilmour-esque in some respects. I've never heard them be compared in that respect.
I've never thought that, but now that you say it.
But when I get Comfortably Numb, like that solo to me is like a masterpiece.
Right.
Of like
it is.
guitar solos.
Yeah.
And I think some of John's work sort of borders and sort of touches in that world of creating a world with it, not trying to play as many notes as he can and showing how virtuosic he is, but he's servicing the song with his solos. He's servicing the song with his background vocals. Yeah. He's servicing the song with his vibe and his energy. That's
everything he does is memorable. You can hum it. You think about it. It's a hook. So there's something to be said. There's an art to that.
And the best part for all of us here now is like it was announced earlier. I guess was it last year, this year that he's coming back.
It was 2019 they announced it, right?
Yeah, and they're working on the record now.
Yeah.
This is 2020. We're not going to talk about the rest of this year. But
it was great. It's the right spot.
It's been a great year.
Oh yeah.
No, the record was supposed to release this year. I don't think that's happening. I hope it's not.
I'm gonna say no.
I hope I hope they work on it all of next year. To be honest with you, and then they release it in 2022. Would be in a weird way. I hope they can tour it.
Right.
And like, who would not want to see the return of Frusciante?
Yeah, man.
And his magical, like, watch his live shows too. Like you watch, it's unbelievable. Like, and he has some disaster ones too, and those are some of the best. Like when he did SNL, and you could tell he was pissed with Anthony over something, and
I forgot about that.
He just drags it down slow. It's like Anthony's going like, I'm playing in front of like 70 million people right now on TV, singing my song. That's how Anthony holds his mic, and like John's just back there, just laughing inside. Like, I mean, he is the Joker of the DC universe. Like, and
I had never. That's wow. I got to go watch that.
Yeah, just go back and like I was doing a little prep for when I was thinking about this. I was going back and watching all the fun things and just like what would inspire me. Like we've talked about Jack White and how I find these sort of. So I was sort of punk driven and raised too. So I sort of grow up out of that. Like I was a huge Sex Pistols and Ramones fan, and I can see the lineage of where then. But my playing has evolved and changed dramatically. I don't play punk anymore because I'm not 19. And I have to pay a mortgage and taxes and have kids. Sorry. But
got dark there.
No, but like back to dark. Sorry, kids. But like John's like that playing it is weird. We were talking earlier too. It's like about rock and roll music in today's state in the 90s and comparing it to today. Like we look at the most popular rock bands of today, and I'm saying rock because they're categorized as rock, would probably be Imagine Dragons. And I think they're a phenomenal band. I love Imagine Dragons.
Yeah.
But on the recordings, you're going to be hard pressed to find an actual drum or
a real bass at the time. Yeah.
And I mean, we could talk about Flea for weeks.
Right.
I mean, and just talk about his clothing choices before we get into. I know we all think socks. Oh my God!
You don't need a pair; you just need one.
No, but like you listen to the Chili Peppers like recordings and like it's rock music.
It's real, yeah.
And it's so tone focused, and all of us are tone chasers. And like, if there's not a better spokesman for the Fender Stratocaster and like the Fender tone, I don't know who is of the modern playing era that is sold more than. I mean, Blood Sugar Sex, that sold 15 million copies.
Good Lord, that's
almost immediately. You know, the Californication's right there too. Like, it's insane how many. This is back when units of records sold, CDs and whatnot, and they counted it. Now it's streaming, but we stream Chili Peppers all the time.
That's right.
Without even thinking of it, because it's just part of the lexicon of our dialect. Because it's rare to find real rock and roll. Not saying you're not real rock and roll Imagine Dragons. I think you are, and I love your music. But the recording style, or we were talking about like Maroon 5 too. Like that's clearly a pop band.
It's their pop. But they're cool.
But they're good as hell. Those players are like, that's a good funky band.
They're great, man.
But it's not like rock. Like these guys,
No.
and you hear just John's the tone drip Stratocaster tone of not just Under the Bridge, but everything.
Everything he does.
You know, it's like Can't Stop. I mean, that's become a song that so many kids try to play in the guitar shop, and it's so much harder than they think. You know,
it's really fun to watch.
It is fun because everyone's like, I got it, and they finally get the notes, but they don't realize like the aggressive striking. And I'll even bring it back to SRV, like Stevie Vaughan's Cold Shot, is like learn Cold Shot and then learn this Frusciante lick.
Yeah.
Like, wait, I'm gonna learn a Stevie Vaughan song first. I'm like, yes, it teaches you that technique. Go learn Cold Shot. That sort of sweep muting, and then Frusciante's just doing it. He doesn't know what he's doing when he's doing it. He's just like, it's got a great riff.
It's just funky, and it's like you said, it's
funky.
aggressive.
It's like Niles Rodgers just like entered his body.
That's
it's like
that's the thing. It's that aggression, you know, and all the muting. It's just there's something really primal and raw.
And watch that video, like the way that he does that lick, the way that Flea's bass works off of it. The drums are phenomenal. He's one of the best living rock drummers. And that's Anthony Kiedis' like finest like vocal working in some way to me because he's a rapper.
He is,
and then he sings these great cool lines with it. But then my thing was watch John's harmonies on that. If you're watching the video, it's just cool to watch the art of the video mixed with the art of John's work on guitar and vocals and his composition in that song.
I forget that John's such a good harmony vocal. Like,
I think he's a better singer than Anthony
Oh,
Kiedis.
there's no even like debate or question about that.
And I love Anthony Kiedis.
Oh, Anthony Kiedis is so cool, but he's not even
like footnote. Lou Reed is one of my favorite singers, so it's like I mean, and I think Edward Scissorhands is like a great hairstyle. You know, it's
works.
And
Works for some people.
I just need help and therapy. No, but so again, like we're starting to wrap up a bit, but like again, like you know, we did the history bit, but that's all over the internet. Go to Wikipedia, go to all the other sites. There's like John Frusciante fan pages everywhere. And we just want to talk about a reason and get the conversation started on why.
Why he is so awesome.
And hopefully we answered a few of those questions.
Maybe so.
Like go back and explore his connections to Hendrix as far as playing style. Go back and explore like the albums that were massive hits of the Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
And understand like why our guitar heroes that we have are usually connected with great songs as well.
Yes.
Like because Clapton, Hendrix, Jimmy Page, even SRV, like Texas Flood is the iconic blues song.
It's amazing. Yeah.
And then like you have Pride and Joy, the Texas Shuffle, that every guitar player learns that at one point. These are great songs. Eric Clapton, I don't even need to get into it obviously, but and then we'll look at some of our guitar gods of today, the songs aren't there.
Right.
And that's why
it's so different now because our guitar gods today, they're just playing like 1 minute clips on Instagram.
Right.
They're doing a jam on YouTube and demoing a pedal, which is cool, and it has made the guitar popular, but it's different than a guy like John Frusciante who has these amazing songs.
Like Joe Bonamassa, arguably the best living guitar player. Can you name one of his songs that he wrote? Like probably not.
I really.
You couldn't even name a Chili Pepper song a minute ago, so I can't.
That's true.
That's not a fair question.
I'm just reading. I got a teleprompter, so in case you guys are wondering.
Teleprompters. We have one, but it's not on.
No.
And that's just in case like we really need help.
It's really just an old
Derek's
TV.
like, end the video. You've been talking for too long. Or like,
why are you guys
I have
still
to
speaking?
go to the bathroom. The chair's gonna squeak when I get up. But just prepare for that. Make a noise. No, but just it's just neat that you have to connect his songwriting with the songs and the playing.
Yes.
And I think it's fantastic.
It is.
I love the lineage of this type of guitar player.
Right.
Using the guitar not as is expected as a typical guitar hero, but more so than you think. That's it. That's all I got to say.
I think we about covered it.
I'm just kidding. I have more to say, but I'm not.
Tell us what you think in the comments. Tell us about if there are more guys you'd like to hear us ramble about. Please let us know. We would never ramble. Hit like and subscribe. Click the bell so you don't miss any of these wonderful videos, and we will see you next time.
And share your stories, or if you've ever met John, or because we met a bunch of these guys. We have not met John. John,
Nope.
we'd love to meet you. I think you're fascinating. and I love your playing. But if you met him, if you have good Chili Peppers experiences or John's solo experiences, share them. It's a great community on our channel that talks to each other. It's neat to see this happen. So thanks, guys. Signing out. Casino Land.